Our first stop today is Taliesin West. Taliesin West is the home and the desert laboratory of the famous architect Lloyd Wright. It's located in the foothills of the McDowell Mountains in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a National Historic Landmark. Established in 1937, it was built and maintained by Wright and his apprentices. Lloyd Wright actually has 8 sites that are listed on the UNESCO World Heritage List. These 8 sites are on the list because they played a prominent role in the development and evolution of modern architecture during the first half of the 20th century, and they continue to inspire architects today. Lloyd Wright wanted his structures and the landscape to be in harmony, kind of like bringing the outside indoors, and he designed everything, including the furniture and the rugs that are here. As you watch the video, I think you'll see how his unique designs stand out and really bring harmony to the environment. They're really very beautiful, and I was appreciative of it. Chuck's an architect, so of course he was appreciative of it, but he also pointed out that it would totally be against building codes today to try to do some of these things. Here we are at the Red Hills Visitor Center at Saguaro National Park. It was weird, there was like nothing anywhere. It was just all flat, and then all of a sudden we started seeing like everywhere right when we got into the park. And this is like a really nice visitor center. Here's what it looks like dried out, and up here is like a boot. It's the nest cavity formed by a Gia woodpecker, or glider flicker. They create holes in the trees and to get the water, and that's like their little nest, which is kind of cool. And the fruit is interesting because they harvest the fruit. It talks about this is what it looks like on the inside. It's protected and it's not grown commercially, but then they boil it, mix it, strain it, dry it out, and then take the juice from it. This came out of the visitor center. Looking around, it's just beautiful. This little sign here talks some about the saguaro, and it says the first few years are hard, and then once it gets established, then it gets to where it can flower. The flower of the fruit that ripens in late June and contains as many as 2,000 seeds. After 75 years, they'll start to get arms, so that's interesting. And they rarely go over 200 years before they die. And they weigh as much as 7 tons and grow taller than a 4-story building. 200 species of animals and 600 species of plants live here. Rattlesnake, quail, round-tailed ground squirrels. Those are what we saw yesterday at the park. Kangaroo rats, roadrunners. We saw that yesterday at the desert garden too. Javelinas. We didn't get to see one. Prickly pear cactus. Very beautiful. Today we're going to leave the visitor center on the west side of the park. Drive a short distance to do the Desert Discovery Nature Trail. After we do that short hike, then we're going to come up here and take this loop road and drive through the park. After enjoying our short stop in the west part of the park, we headed to our boondocking spot for the night. See, this bridge right here is a 10,000 pound weight limit, and we're like 11,000 pounds. So the trucks had this road to go around, which is fine right here. You'll see the bridge looks pretty sketchy. Except right down the road towards the boondocking spot, there was another bridge and there was no way around that one. So we're gonna have to go find another spot. We're not gonna risk driving over it. So at the end of yesterday's video, we had trouble finding a boondocking spot. Eventually we found something close to the west side of the park, but it was just an open field, so nothing great, but it served its purpose. Today we're leaving the west side of the park, driving across Tucson to the east side of the park. Believe it or not, this is 33 miles and like at least an hour drive across. We made it to the Rancune Visitor Center on the east side of the park today. We're going to try to do a hike before it gets too hot. It's 9:15. And this side of the park on the east side have a lot more arms. That one's, I think, the biggest one we've seen. And the mountains are pretty. But we probably hiked a mile. Everything's starting to look a lot the same. We made it to the famous El Charro Cafe downtown Tucson. The van is parked back over there. Chuck did a great job on parallel parking. We got an hour and 15 minutes. It's almost noon. And super excited to head into this place. If we can find the door. El Charro since 1922. We're eating lunch and the salsa is like super hot. My mouth's on fire. Chuck got the carne seca,
It's dry.
and burrito chimichanga style, and I got the tamales. Alright, so that's the box where they hang the meat, like what Chuck had. And the little courtyard here is super cute. Just finished eating and it was amazing. I did a little bit of filming outside, but we didn't get to sit inside. We had to sit at a little patio out front, so that was a little disappointing, but at least we saw where the meat was supposed to hang, even though they had already taken it down, and that's what Chuck ate, and it was really good. Highly recommend the food. We're gonna call it an early day and drive to our boondocking spot outside of Tombstone, Arizona. It's Saturday morning and we are going to do laundry. Arizona, the time just kills us. It's like 8:25 here. The sun would be blazing except we have this beautiful mountain up here which is blocking the sun. And you can see this is a cool rock over here. It's got kind of like part of it fell off in between. Finished our laundry this morning. Had some problems with the washer machine. The one washing machine was just locking up and the timer was screwed up and our clothes were locked in it, but it eventually came loose, which is good. And this is the town of Tombstone. Like Nose Cake Saloon. This is where we're going.
Hey,
Many?
Oh wow.
Did you guys want to order food?
Yes.
Here's the menus.
Thank you.
Of course.
Oh, this is cool. The drink is delicious. It's prickly pear juice, Chardonnay, and a
called a cactus cocktail, she called it. Look at Chuck's beer. It's huge. It says big ass beer, and it's got the Saloon on it. For $7 you get to take it with you, so I think we're gonna get it.
Because the bar was so loud, I'm just gonna do a voiceover here. In the 1800s, Big Nose Kate Saloon was the Grand Hotel. Hosted such infamous personalities as Wyatt and Virgil Earp, Doc Holliday, as well as the Clantons and the McClorys. The original bar is down at the end. We aren't certain, but we think that this guy is the owner talking to us. He told us we had to go get our pictures made, and they do it for free. Chuck wouldn't partake, but I did end up getting some photos done, and I have to say the photo shoot was just so much fun. I was able to stand on the bar, on the piano. They have all these costumes, and they have a person there who will help you. For a tip, of course. I just love this place. I would definitely recommend it, and the food turns out to be excellent as well. The drinks were also excellent, and Chuck bought the beer mug to bring home as a memory, because we had had such a really great time here. As you'll see, the bar is super crowded. When we walked by the bars earlier, there was hardly anybody in any of them, so this place is packed and definitely must be the place to go. We decided to head down to the gift shop. I loved all of the history and the memorabilia here that was on the walls, but the basement also has its own story. In this hotel, the janitor was the odd job man, known simply as the Swamper. He was trusted and an honest helper who was given his accommodations as part of his hard-earned pay. He had his own special bedroom located in the basement of the Grand Hotel, and no guests were invited in.
So this was a man who was hired as a maintenance man. He worked for 3 years. He got room and board. So example, that back door would have been where he entered. So he started digging. He hit a silver vein, continued to dig, and made it to the silver mine tunnel.
You made it all the way through.
And they say $1 million in silver disappeared, and so did he.
Oh, wow.
Did he cover it up during the day or so nobody would see it?
Honestly,
Or did nobody ever come down?
Nobody really paid
Come
attention.
down.
Nobody paid attention?
No. And so in the 60s, the teenagers learned about 16 feet under Tombstone are tunnels that will lead to the silver mine tunnels.
Really?
They could come here and steal alcohol.
Oh.
So in the 70s, that man they nicknamed Swamper, who is a best friend of a local we have, Mikey House. He preserved the top of the hole. It's sealed about 6 feet down with cement, and he widened it because it was only the width of the man's body.
Wow.
So I don't know, the miners got him, or he was able to get away and put some of them somewhere else in the earth.
Maybe like putting
That is so awesome.
the dirt in his pockets like Shawshank Redemption. The Swamper.
I'm so glad we came here. That place is awesome. Loved it.
That's a good place.
That was a very cool touristy place, but I liked it.
Yeah.
I don't know what my photos look like.
Oh, they look good. They're funny. The one where you're holding the shotgun. You took a picture up there. That's hilarious.
That's great.
Yeah, I think it's done.
We missed the gunfight. It was at noon. Oh. They do more than one. That's Doc Holidays.
We normally don't like touristy towns, but I have to say this town has a lot to offer. There are a lot of other saloons, and the theater is supposed to be really good as well.
Tombstone was awesome. At least the Big Nose Kate was just really cool. They did not have Tombstone Brewing IPA at Big Nose Kate's, so we came to the actual brewery. So Chuck's gonna buy some IPAs to go.
Another thing I have to say about Tombstone is that all of the people in town were super, super nice. And the brewery IPAs that Chuck got to go, he said were amazing. Our next stop for today is Chiricahua National Monument. Along the way, we're going to drive through the town of Bisbee because several of the locals from Tombstone recommended that we go to Bisbee. They said they liked it better than Tombstone. So we'll see, but we don't have time to stop today, but we're just going to drive through town and see what it's like. We had a lot of fun in Tombstone, and this is definitely on our list to come back to again one day. I would certainly suggest if you're in the area to add it to your list. Chiricahua National Monument was established in 1924 to preserve and protect the pinnacles. The Chiricahua Apache called these pinnacles standing up rocks. Their origins began 27 million years ago when eruptions from the Turkey Creek volcano spewed ash over 1,200 square miles. Weather material washed away, leaving behind an endless variety of spires, balanced rock, and other shapes. We were excited about this national monument because we'd heard from a few of our friends that it was very unique and just a wonderland of rocks from anything that we had seen before.
Feels like a slot canyon we've been walking through. It's pretty cool. We're almost a mile in. This is 3.3 miles.
We had high expectations for this national monument, and we were not disappointed. It was really fabulous. In fact, the Echo Canyon Loop hike is probably in our top 5 hikes from our entire summer trip. It had been another excellent day, and so now it was time to go find a boondocking spot for the night. In the next video, we make a very long drive to the Gila Cliff Dwellings. Then we visit White Sands National Park and work our way towards Carlsbad Caverns.